Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation. This is just a little overview of my final paper on the U.S. Agency for Global Media and Ethical Practices. My name is Octavio Ramirez. This is for class MPA 580, Legal and Ethical Issues for Dr. David C. Powell. So just a little overview of the presentation. I'll be talking about my paper on the U.S. Agency for Global Media and Ethical Practices. And I'll start with my thesis statement, then move on to the points that I'll be supporting throughout the paper, and then I'll end up with the conclusion. All right, so the following is my thesis statement. The U.S. Agency for Global Media has a mission to promote the international equal access to news, while employees and journalists face ethical dilemmas that they attempt to solve by analyzing conflicts through their own lenses that are influenced and shaped by codes of ethics, their own values, and moral ethical reasoning. Okay, so to begin with, I'll start by explaining the U.S. Agency of Global Media and its mission, and I'll be talking about the freedom of the press granted to the United States citizens by the U.S. Constitution, and also then I'll also discuss the policy of the agency, and then I'll move on to the Oregon Code of Ethics that mostly applies to journalism. I didn't find another code of ethics that applied more than this code of ethics that it was applied in that it was I think was developed in 1922 and implemented. And then I'm also going to talk about why a code of ethics is important. Then I'll move on to value-based ethics versus compliance-based ethics. Moving on, I'll be discussing the sincerity, truth, care, competency, and thoroughness of journalists, and I'll back it up by virtues and categorical imperatives and deceiving readers. Moving on, I'll be talking about justice, mercy, and kindliness. So one of the ethical theories that I'll be talking about is what is justice, ethical dilemmas, utilitarianism, and also be implementing the ethics triangle and that reasoning. Moving on, and I'll be talking about moderation, conservatism, and proportion. So I'll be talking about moral luck and how journalists and also the global media shares the media based on those three concepts, which is moderation, conservatism, and proportion, to not cause any harm. And then also I'll apply the theory of categorical imperatives, and the formula that I'll be applying is the formula of humanity. And then the last point that I'm going to be covering is political agenda, so partisanship, propaganda, and public services and social policy. So I'll be backing it up with natural law, virtues, and utilitarianism, and so that that reflects the journalist's view of making media accessible to everyone, so that to provide them with the greatest amount of benefit to the greatest amount of people. So in conclusion, the U.S. Agency for Global Media and its employees benefit from guidance from a code of ethics, their own values, virtues, and ethical views to comply with certain guidelines set forth by their agency, while they also try to ethically perform tasks in ways that align with moral values and ethics, and not simply to comply with comply because they want to avoid negative consequences. So this is just a little overview of my critical assignment paper. I'm looking forward to seeing your videos, and hopefully everyone's having a great weekend.